A season built on change, fueled by hope, defined by resilience, is over. Welcome to the Mercedes-Benz Rangers postgame show. John Giannone, Marty Biron, and Steve Valiquette. An exhilarating and maybe, for some people, unexpected run has ended just about 6 weeks from when it began and 6 wins shy of lifting the Stanley Cup. 2-1 the final in Game 6 in Tampa. This one is going to sting for a while when you consider that it pretty much followed the script that Tampa has followed in winning 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah, obviously Tampa can lock it down in games in game 7s or elimination games. Vasilevsky has been really strong in those games, only giving up 2 goals in his last 8 chances to be able to clinch a series. So it's been pretty fantastic. But for me, at least the Rangers really put it all on the line in the 3rd period. They played a much better, much more aggressive type of hockey. They did get the power play goal. Unfortunately, 21 seconds later, Stamkos came in. But you felt like something was going to happen. The chances that the Rangers got were in the 3rd period, not so much in the first 40. But just, Stamkos, obviously a great leader, came through.
You know, I'm already thinking about what the Rangers have learned from this experience, and it's defense. Defense wins. Goal scoring is up this year. It's actually at its highest point in 26 years. A team like the Florida Panthers averages over 4 goals per game, and Tampa beats them in 4 straight, and they can only score 3 times on them. But that was a masterclass of playoff defense. Now, Tampa Bay has taken their licks along the way to learn how to play like this. This is just step 1 for the New York Rangers. You're going to learn. Defense wins in the playoffs. In 2019, Tampa Bay lost in 4 straight to Columbus because they thought they could outscore their problems. That was a masterclass of learning, though, for the New York Rangers. That's how playoff hockey is won, and that's great. It's a great learning experience.
Don't know if you read the quote from John Tortorella the other day, but he said, we created a monster. When the Columbus Blue Jackets were able to beat Tampa in 4 straight, after they were down 3-0 early in the game, and they came back in Game 1, said, we created a monster, and you're seeing the monster that Tampa is right now.
Yeah, and the end is particularly stunning when you consider this was a series. The Rangers had a 2-0 lead, and then they led 2-0 in Game 3. And when you crunch the numbers, 9 goals in the first 2 games, 5 goals in the final 4. Right. So the Rangers only score 5 after having a 2-0 lead in the series, and that's what's probably going to sting as well, especially when you consider in this game, it was almost at the midway point of the game, still scoreless. Rangers had a paltry number of shots on goal, similarly shot attempts, and then, as you mentioned, the leader of the team, the captain of the team, and a future Hall of Famer, Steven Stamkos, breaks through for the 1-0 goal.
Yeah, look, that goal's going to surprise a lot of people, and certainly surprised us. I looked it up. Now, Shesterkin has faced a shot from here this season 20 times. I'm talking about off the rush, zone entry, even men. He's faced that shot 20 times. He had never been beaten on it. So I went back 3 seasons and 2 seasons, and in his 3 years as a Ranger, he's never been beaten from there on a zone entry, clear sight. So, you know, just one of those things I think that happens every once in a while in playoffs where maybe Shesterkin was reading to the middle and he was trying to see for a quick second what the pass options were, and he was just surprised by the shot.
Well, you know, who was supposed to be coming down the middle that didn't come was Kucherov. He actually stayed farther out on the blue line, but if you're a goalie, sometimes you don't have to tilt your head, you don't have to move your head, you just move your eyes. Like, is there somebody coming? Because Stamkos was such in a position that it wasn't an immediate threat. Yeah. Sometimes you get your eyes off, you locate, as we use as a term in goaltending. You locate to see where everybody else is, and it looks like it caught Shesterkin by surprise for sure.
Yeah, so that gave the Lightning a 1-0 lead. They went to the 3rd period. Rangers had a power play, couldn't convert. Got a second power play, and it was the second unit on the power play that was able to cash in. Frank Vatrano scoring off a face-off win. Rangers had a lot of face-off wins in this game, but that one in particular pumped a slight bit of life, Marty, into the Rangers.
Yeah, it did. And it was after a very good, I thought, first power play unit that went out for about a minute and a half. They created some shots. They got to pucks. They had 2nd and 3rd opportunities. It wasn't just one and done, and then you go chase it in your zone. So right off the faceoff, you see Vatrano is a left-hand shot. He's standing on the edge of the circle. A great win by Andrew Kopp, and he walks right into it. Killorn couldn't come out. There was a little interference there. Obviously, that's what you do on the faceoff. You get in in the way of players, and this one was just a rocket that beats just Vasilevsky on the cross.
And this is coming off a previous power play where the Rangers were blocked out 5 times. Yeah, the fans are going nuts. What a great atmosphere at the Garden.
Oh, sick.
But the blocks were definitely there for Tampa, and they really imposed their will that way on their penalty kill. It was tough to get through, and you see that one there goes off Killorn, but that was the Tampa Bay penalty kill. They were fronting pucks. We talked about that a lot after Game 5. They were tough to get to on their penalty kill.
Yeah, they had blocked 5 shots for the Rangers in the previous power play, so that tied it at 1. Rangers felt a little bit of optimism, had a little more spring in their step, and then 21 seconds later, Stamkos struck again.
And doesn't it feel like during this series, Tampa Bay always struck in moments of just where you were trying to gather yourself and get yourself back together and maybe settle yourself after having such an emotional moment from scoring, and they just punch right back. And some of these chances that they had in this game really came right when the Rangers were just trying to settle back in, but they didn't allow them to do so. This puck, it comes out alive from Shesterkin's glove. That's why there's no interference. I'm okay with that decision. If it was in his glove, which it wasn't, but if it was in the glove and knocked away, that would be different, but it was loose. And, Marty, I think that you and I both agree when we saw that. It was a good goal.
Yeah, it was a good goal, and obviously they reviewed it to make sure it wasn't kicked in. But Steven Stamkos is a really smart hockey player. You can ask him, you scored 2 goals in a game in 2014 against Chicago, and he will remember those goals right away. And there was a couple chances early in the game where Cirelli had a chance similar on a broken 2-on-1 where he hung onto it, tried to go around Shesterkin. Brendan Hagel had a couple of chances trying to go around Shesterkin. Stamkos gets the puck in that situation. He's like, I'm not going around Shesterkin. I'm going to shoot the puck and try to make something happen. Because he thinks the game and he sees what other players have tried that has worked or not worked. So that is where I think Steven Stamkos really found a way to beat Shesterkin by taking a quick shot instead of trying to deke him around, because there was no way he was getting around Shesterkin. He's so good laterally.
Yeah, John and I can definitely add to the fact that we didn't see Shesterkin get beat on dekes all year.
Right, exactly.
It was shots, and that's the only way to beat him.
And if you want to look to the big difference, many differences in this series that resulted in a 6-game win for Tampa, how about looking at the stars? You have Stamkos with 5, Palat with 4, Kucherov with 3, that's 12 goals. Yeah. And then you had Panarin with 2, Kreider with 2, Zibanejad with 3, that's 7 goals. Yeah. That's a 5-goal gap between the stars on both sides.
And 5-on-5 especially has been a difference, because the Rangers only scored 1 5-on-5 goal since Zibanejad made it in Game 2. It was Lindgren from the half wall, so it's been power play after power play. 5-on-5 is usually where you can impose your will against the team, and the Stars on the Rangers did not match the Lightning Stars, especially at 5-on-5.
But the brightest star for the Rangers in this game, in this series, and most likely in these playoffs, Igor Shesterkin, another remarkable night. You can make a case this might have been the best game he played in these playoffs.
I think that was his best game in the playoffs, John, because he had the most difficult chances faced of any game we've seen this season, especially off the rush, you guys. He had to make a lot of really good reads to be able to be aggressive and be able to track the puck. I thought this was a performance that he gave his team every opportunity to stay in this game. At 1-1, it sure as heck didn't feel that way. And the Rangers, they could have been able to spoil here. A lot of these one-on-one jams where he was so strong down low, east to west. He had to make 4 or 5 plays across the slot line where he had reads, and you and I had marveled about the one that he made on Kucherov on the backhand, where he comes across, but he's just lunging himself at Kucherov to close angle. I thought he was outstanding.
And Rangers fans and obviously the organization has got to be really feeling comfortable that Shesterkin is going to be here for quite some time, doing what he did exactly in this game and throughout the whole season. Now, the pressure of being in a Game 6 elimination game and keeping the game at 1-0, that is where I think Shesterkin was at his best. Is he made some really good saves, great saves at time, but the pressure to keep it 1-0, to buy time for your team, to maybe get a power play and score that goal, which happened, is exactly what you needed from him, and he delivered.
Yeah, stunningly, Shesterkin will end this postseason with 4 consecutive losses. He has one more thing to do before he calls it a summer, and that is to pick up the Vezina Trophy, because It would be a stunner if he doesn't win it nearly unanimously. Rangers lose 2-1 in Game 6. They lose the series 4-2, and their postseason is over. By the numbers presented by the New York Lottery, we update Andrei Vasilevskiy with a chance to advance. Now 11-5 in his career. The goals against goes down. The save percentage ticks up. He's only allowed 23 goals in 16 games. And how about that number at the bottom? 221 shots faced, 219 saves in the last 8 wins, while facing the ability to close out an opponent. What more can you say about a guy who continues to prove that he's one of the all-time great clutch goalies?
I'm impressed, but I'm still more impressed with Shesterkin than Vasilevskiy. If the roles were switched and they switched nets, Shesterkin would have been on the winning side as well. Let's face it. As much as look, I think he's one of the best goalies in the world. I actually do think Shesterkin's better. I might be biased because we cover him so closely. But the one thing I can say is that Shesterkin has a better technique, in my opinion, than Vasilevskiy. But Vasilevskiy still got the athleticism that makes up for it. We learned a lot about him in this series. At some point, the Rangers will defend as well as Tampa defends, and the conversation and the outcome would be different in a series like this.
I'll say as a non-biased observer, Shesterkin had the way better season. Like Vasilevskiy's second half of the season was underwhelming. Yeah. Below a 910 save percentage, where he was a 925 in the first half, and even in the first round against Toronto. I mean, the first 5 games and Game 6, giving up 3, 4, 3. Like, he wasn't locked down, Vasilevskiy. And that's why I'm impressed about Vasilevskiy, is how he was able to lock it down at 3-3 in Game 6 against Toronto and not giving up a goal in that one, only giving up a goal in Game 7, 3 in the second round. And these are the type of saves that you're getting from Vasilevskiy. Now, first of all, he made it look easy at times. This looks like a lacrosse goalie that's looking to send somebody out on a breakaway, but reaction saves on deflections, screens, right? And moving laterally. This save here on the rebound with his left pad was one of the best reaction rebound save that I've seen. And obviously, he's the big cat for a reason, because he's got quickness like a cat. He's big, he sees everything, and he moves just so quickly in the crease. So I'm impressed how he turned it around from an underwhelming second half of the season and an underwhelming first part of the first round to where he is right now.